Rassie Erasmus signed the kind of deal that makes international coaches jealous. A contract extension running all the way through to 2031. 6 more years of guaranteed security, guaranteed salary, guaranteed control over South African rugby. Except there's a problem. A big one. And it's the kind of problem that could unravel everything SA Rugby thinks they've just secured. While Rassie was signing his extension through 2031, his assistant coaches were watching from the sidelines. Tony Brown, the attack coach who helped transform the Springboks' attacking structures. Felix Jones, the defensive mastermind who brought world-class systems from Ireland. Dan Human, Deon Davids, Madzandil Stick, the entire supporting cast that turned Rassie's vision into actual results on the field. Every single one of them is sitting on contracts that currently run through 2027. That's a 4-year gap between when the assistants' deals expire and when Rassie's deal expires. 4 years where these coaches could walk away, take offers from other nations, move to club rugby, or simply decide that SA Rugby doesn't value them enough to. SA Rugby's response to questions about the assistant coaches: they'll make announcements in due course. Corporate language for "we'll get to it when we get to it." And that's where this story stops being about contracts and starts being about something much bigger. This is about loyalty. This is about whether SA Rugby understands what actually makes the Springboks successful. Because here's the thing, nobody seems to be saying out loud, Rassie Erasmus didn't win 2 World Cups by himself. He didn't design the defensive systems that shut down the best attacks in world rugby. He didn't create the attacking patterns that finally gave South Africa a genuine threat with ball in hand. He didn't coach the forwards, the backs, the breakdown work, the lineouts, the scrums, all by himself. Rassie built a team, a coaching team, and that team is what delivered the results. So when SA Rugby extends Rassie through 2031, but leaves his coaching staff on 2027 contracts, they're not just creating a contractual inconsistency, they're sending a message about who they think matters and who they think is replaceable.
Reports emerged that Rassie himself wanted his assistant coaches secured before he signed his own extension. That detail matters. It tells you how Rassie views his coaching setup. He knows what SA Rugby apparently doesn't fully grasp yet. You can't just replace world-class coaching talent like you're swapping out parts in a machine. These assistants didn't stumble into their roles. Tony Brown was part of the New Zealand rugby system, one of the most respected attacking minds in the game. Felix Jones was instrumental in Ireland's defensive success before joining the Springboks. These aren't just guys filling positions, they're specialists who bring years of international experience, different perspectives from different rugby cultures, and proven track records of success. And they left those positions to join Rassie's project. That context gets lost when people talk about coaching contracts like they're just paperwork. Tony Brown left the All Blacks environment to come work with the Springboks. That's not a small decision. Felix Jones left a successful Irish setup. These coaches bet on Rassie's vision, bet on South African rugby, bet that SA Rugby would treat them as essential parts of the system. Now they're watching Rassie get secured through 2031, while they wait for SA Rugby to decide if they're worth the same commitment. Think about what that does to a coaching group. You're working 16-hour days, dealing with media pressure, traveling constantly, living away from family, all while helping deliver World Cup victories. And then your boss gets a 6-year extension while you're told your future will be announced in due course. That's not how you build loyalty. That's how you create resentment. But let's say SA Rugby eventually gets around to extending these assistants. Problem solved, right? Not because the damage might already be done. The moment you make someone feel like an afterthought, like a piece that can be dealt with later, you've changed the relationship. Rugby coaches talk to each other. They know what's happening in other setups. When England comes calling with a 4-year deal and guaranteed security, or when a French club offers double the salary and less pressure, those conversations start looking very different. When you feel undervalued by your current employer, and this isn't speculation, international rugby is cutthroat when it comes to coaching talent. France is throwing money at coaches. England is always looking for the next solution to their problems. Japan has financial resources that can compete with anyone. Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, they're all watching.
South African rugby is gambling that their assistant coaches will stay out of loyalty to Rassie, loyalty to the Springboks, loyalty to the project they've built together. But loyalty is a two-way street. You can't expect people to show loyalty when you don't show it back. And right now, South African rugby is showing loyalty to Rassie while treating his assistants like they're negotiable. There's another angle to this that makes it even more concerning.
Rassie's coaching philosophy isn't just about him standing on the sideline making calls. It's about systems, structures, detailed planning, and collective buy-in from the entire coaching staff. The Springboks don't just win because Rassie is smart, they win because there's a coherent approach that runs through every level of the team, from attack to defense to forwards play to game management. Take any piece out of that system and it starts to wobble. Lose Tony Brown and suddenly the attacking structures that took years to develop need to be rebuilt with someone new. Lose the defensive coaches and you're starting from scratch on the defensive systems that have made South Africa so difficult to break down. Lose the forwards coaches and the dominance at scrum time, at line-out time, at breakdown time, all of that expertise walks out the door. This is what South African rugby doesn't seem to fully appreciate. They think they've secured the Springboks' future by locking down Rassie, but what they've actually done is secured one man while leaving the actual system vulnerable. It's like buying the most expensive engine for your car but forgetting to secure the transmission, the wheels, the steering system. Sure, you've got a great engine, but good luck going anywhere when the rest falls apart. And here's where the international competition comes back into play. Other nations are watching this situation. They see talented coaches who might be available in a few years or who might be feeling undervalued right now. They see an opportunity to poach world-class coaching talent from the back-to-back World Cup champions. England would love to bring in someone like Tony Brown to fix their attacking problems. France would throw serious money at defensive specialists who've proven they can shut down the best teams in the world. Japan continues to invest heavily in international coaching talent. The market for top-level rugby coaches is incredibly competitive, and South African rugby is acting like they're the only option on the table for their assistants. That's not arrogance, that's denial. Every day that passes without these assistants getting the same security Rassie received is another day where other nations can approach them about opportunities elsewhere, about being valued, about long-term security. South African rugby's position appears to be that they'll handle the assistant coaches' contracts when the time is right. They've said announcements will follow in due course, but in due course isn't a strategy, it's a delay tactic. And in professional sport, delay tactics usually mean you're either unsure what to do, or you're hoping the problem resolves itself. Neither option inspires confidence. There's a valid argument that South African rugby might be working through budget constraints, might be negotiating details, might have perfectly reasonable explanations for why the assistants haven't been secured yet. Rugby unions don't have unlimited resources. Contracts are complicated. These things take time. But here's the counter-argument. If you had time to negotiate and finalize Rassie's extension through 2031, you had time to at least announce the framework for extending his coaching staff. The fact that Rassie's deal got done while his assistants are still waiting sends a clear message about priorities, whether South African rugby intended that message or not. This situation reveals something deeper about how rugby unions value different roles. The head coach gets the recognition, the security, the long-term commitment. The assistants get told to wait their turn. It's a pattern that exists across international rugby, not just in South Africa, but that doesn't make it right. And it definitely doesn't make it smart when you're trying to maintain a winning culture, because winning cultures aren't built on hierarchy and ego, they're built on mutual respect, shared commitment, and everyone feeling valued for their contribution. The moment you create a two-tier system where one person gets everything and everyone else gets promises, you've damaged that culture. So what happens next? Either South African rugby wakes up and secures these assistants quickly, showing them they're valued as essential parts of the system, or they continue to delay and risk losing coaching talent that took years to assemble and integrate. The smart move is obvious. Lock down the entire coaching staff. Make it clear that South African rugby values the system, not just the figurehead. Show the rugby world that South Africa understands what actually makes them successful. But whether South African rugby will actually do that remains to be seen. And while they're figuring it out, other nations are circling, contracts are counting down, and the coaching staff that helped deliver back-to-back World Cups is left wondering if their employer actually values what they've built. Rassie got his security, his coaches are still waiting, and that might end up being the decision that costs South African rugby far more than any contract extension could ever be worth.